Thank you for being here today. I truly hope that you and yours have fared well throughout this dreadful pandemic. My name is Dr. Laurel Steinberg, and I'm a clinical sexologist and relationship therapist. My mission in life is to help couples love their lives together. My talk today is called The Paradox of Anger in Loving Relationships. I'm here to reveal to you a truly shocking and completely backwards phenomenon that loving couples engage in all too often, as well as a much needed solution that I developed over more than 12 years of clinical practice to help them stop fighting forever. It was amazing. I couldn't believe my ears. Partner after partner repeatedly concluded that what sounded like anger being directed at them meant that their partners felt angry towards them and were picking a fight, hungry for them to yell back. This was shocking because as I listened carefully about how precious their relationships were to them, time and again, it was crystal clear to me that more often than not, their yelling partners really felt completely different inside. They had simply worked themselves up to the point that they were unable to communicate effectively. I feel anguish thinking about the countless arguments that could have been avoided. Let me share a story to both further illustrate what I mean and teach you how to keep your own relationship protected. I remember one evening in particular. Just as I was about to leave my office for the day, I received a call from a woman named Sarah. She explained in a sad, weepy voice that she was staring at a document from her lawyer, which, if signed, would result in her husband James being served with divorce papers. Through tears, Sarah said, "Before I sign away what I once thought was the best thing that ever happened to me, I wanted to give couples counseling a try, to see if you might be able to help us end this non-stop arguing. No pressure, right?" How does it come to be that partners who desperately want to get along often choose words that hurt one another the most, resulting in arguments that are reported to be the cause of 60% of all divorces? Whatever happened to the marital vows made by partners committing to love and cherish one another, who then do just the opposite? Treating couples like Sarah and James taught me that when partners who truly have the best intentions for their relationships spend so much time arguing, what typically sounds like anger really isn't anger. It's anxiety that has become escalated to the point that it comes out sounding like anger as a desperate attempt to immediately capture a partner's attention. Think about it. Have you ever found yourself saying hurtful, mean words that you later realized were more intense than your partner's offense? Or were you ever surprised at being on the receiving end of an angry response when the way you did something differed from what your partner had in mind? The term that I developed for this phenomenon is escalated anxiety. It sounds completely mean and angry, but in reality, it's mostly made up of worry, and none of us are immune to it without first becoming aware of it and then changing the way we respond. Let me show you in action how anxiety becomes transformed into escalated anxiety. Take Sarah, for example, the woman who telephoned me holding the divorce papers. She came to our first couple session with puffy, teary eyes and began by saying, "We have such big arguments over such little things. I don't get it." One instance began with Sarah suggesting that she and James spend more time together by having him drive her to work a few days each week. Sounds good. He agreed, but reminded her that they had to be on the road by 6 a.m. in order to get in on time. They had great fun at first, laughing, listening to music. But as the days went by, Sarah arrived at James's car later and later. 6:06, then 6:10, and finally 6:18, when he screamed, "Why are you so late? I hate when you do this," as she got in the car. Thinking it unacceptable that he was yelling at her, Sarah yelled back, sparking an ugly argument that spanned their entire 1.5-hour commute into the city. This doesn't sound like such quality time together, right? So, what specifically causes escalated anxiety? Why did Sarah's lateness, which couldn't be undone, result in such a bad argument? My years of research have shown that the mechanism that causes escalated anxiety becomes activated when A, a person struggles to cope with their anxiety in relation to what they believe their partner did wrong, and B, a person thinks that the relationship simply cannot continue without the current issue being resolved immediately. Because of this, their words come out sounding mean, even though they're only a little angry about their partner's wrongdoing and a lot worried about the situation they're left to face. Additionally, I've learned that arguments between loving partners are at their core the result of anxiety about 3 specific themes, which tug unbelievably strongly at the heartstrings of ordinarily reasonable people who desperately want a happy relationship. I've also found that as the number of themes that they feel anxiety about increases from 1 to 2 to 3, the subsequent escalated anxiety experienced increases exponentially, not linearly. Oh boy. These 3 themes come together to form the easy to remember acronym ART, A-R-T. They include appreciation. Being recognized and important to someone special is one of the greatest feelings in the world. Sarah yelled back at James because she felt unappreciated. And when James thought that his job might be in jeopardy, he believed that Sarah's tardiness was a reflection of her not appreciating him. Right versus wrong. Everyone wants a partner who will make decisions that keep their relationship safe on countless issues, which often include how money is spent or conduct with others. Sarah thought it was unacceptable that James yelled at her. And when Sarah was late, James thought that this was just wrong. Time. We're all racing against the clock, optimizing at every turn. Sarah shared that she remembered rushing herself that morning so James wasn't late for work. And James was all worked up about facing an angry boss. As you can see, both Sarah and James experienced escalated anxiety about all 3 of the ART categories that day: appreciation, right versus wrong, and time, resulting in meanness that led to that ugly argument. Countless arguments like these pushed Sarah and James to the brink of divorce, but they were willing to do whatever it would take to keep them together. Frustrated by hearing couple after couple have argument after argument as a result of believing that their partners felt angry at them, not anxious, I came up with the following set of techniques to help eliminate this problem. So, what can loving couples do to stop arguments before they start? Well, the first step is to realize that it takes 2 people to argue, but only one to stop the madness. And with a little know-how, we can all be that much needed hero. Next, we can recognize when our own anxiety becomes escalated and/or not take that bait if the partner we know loves us dearly appears angry, as he or she is most likely experiencing escalated anxiety. Then we can de-escalate the anxiety by taking a deep breath and asking ourselves or our partners the following question. What are you worried about? What are you worried about? With practice, This question alone will be enough to be effective. But until it is, or on an off day, we can ask 3 follow-up questions. Are you feeling unappreciated about what your partner is doing? Do you think your partner is making choices that aren't right for you and or your relationship? Or is your partner preventing you from using time the way you want? These questions identify the exact source of the problem. Anxiety about A, not feeling appreciated. R, our partner doing something wrong. And or T, that our partner's use of time is negatively impacting our own use of it. This technique works as a result of a universally taught principle. We are taught to soothe and constructively solve issues with those who demonstrate that they are worried, instead of having arguments that would leave us stranded in relationship no man's land. Once the angry sounding words have come to a halt, I like for partners to incorporate a structure for success for future occasions, sure to be similar to the one that went wrong. Sarah and James decided that on occasions when she's running later than is okay, he'll head off on his own and she'll just take the train like she does on the other days. In this way, the incident that caused them so much upset yielded a brighter, no stress tomorrow. It is such a great honor to be able to help couples like Sarah and James improve the way they relate to one another. This doesn't mean that we won't have differences of opinion or disagreements. It just means that more often than not, we'll be able to turn potential conflict into actual constructive communication. Listen, when we take the time to ask important questions to better understand our own feelings, as well as those of our partners, we can experience the joy and fulfillment we always hoped for. This concept and the skill that I have shared here today are how I was able to think big to develop an idea worth spreading. Please remember, only you have the ability to have your worries not sound mean. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful audience.